Hello and welcome to another World of Warplanes video. This time I'm flying out in the F2A, the Tier 4 American multi-role fighter, and I've got 3 games to show you. These games happened over the last 3 days, kind of the 22nd, 23rd, and the final game's on the 24th. This one's from the 22nd of this month, that is. So there are effectively 3 games in a row I had in this aircraft, since I'm basically only playing 1 game a day at the moment, because World of Warships is out, so I'm playing that a lot. Anyway, this match, it is on National Park, and my team's actually been pretty smart, and we've all we're all heading towards grouping up in the centre, which oddly enough, doesn't actually happen that often in this map. As you can see, the enemy ground attackers are hitting some targets in the north. Well, we've just bumped into an enemy F2A down low in the centre. There's a Bristol 146 supporting it. I was thinking of diving on the F2A, but I reckon if you look at the minimap, you see basically my entire team is. So I'll go on the 146 instead, just to try and spread our fire out a bit more evenly. I thought about rolling in, but so it was a bit too soon, so delay a bit. Roll over and go down on its tail, and unfortunately it's in a bit of a dive, so it's going to take me a while to get down to it, and then it turns, and this guy can turn inside me. I've got a lot of speed, so I don't turn very tight. I still do a fair bit of damage and get on its tail, a few wobbles there, but that was a nice easy kill so far as it goes. I was going to head back up to try and regain some energy. Then I see another 146 above me, and I decided to just slot into its tail again. Not again, onto its tail as well. Put a few shots into it, but then realised it can basically beat me in a turn fight, so I better, get out of that fight sooner rather than later. Put a few shots in I-16 as it passes, but it misses. I think of shooting at IL-2, but see it's going to get on with me, so I don't really dodge, but I avoid most of its fire by accident. And now I see a Blenheim F was coming at me, so I dodge, put a few more shots in that unfortunate 146 from earlier, and then come around, trying to get onto the tail of the Blenheim F. So I figure this guy basically, I'm pretty sure I'm both faster and more manoeuvrable than it. So once I'm on its tail, it's basically got no hope of escaping, at least theoretically. And what doesn't help when it decides to try and turn within a few hundred metres of me, and I put a lot of damage in, almost ram a friendly I-16 there. But instead I managed to turn around and get an assist. Okay, I want to hit this I-16 since it was on the tail of friendly aircraft. But I know I'm not going to turn inside it, so I go into a loop, and I see there's plenty of aircraft on its tail, so I go for this 109B. And start lighting it up when there's a loop above me, and then it goes into a power climb. But the F2A's actually got a pretty great engine, so I decided to just chase it up. Which shows to be a bit of a miscalculation, because I can't actually quite kill it in time. I essentially thought I'd be able to destroy it before I stalled, but well, I stalled before I destroyed it, and now it's come around on my tail. I actually managed to avoid all of its shots there, and then it just decides to go for someone else. Take a few shots in, but they don't hit. But I know that 109B is going to go into another climb as soon as it's done shooting at friendly aircraft. So I go into a climb as well to try and meet it when it's low on energy. And you can see on right, it's topping out its climb. And I've still got plenty of speed and getting nice, well, not easy, it had a bit of thought, but I put the work in and the kill was easy in the end. Anyway, there's only one enemy aircraft left, it's a ground attack aircraft. If you remember from at the start, the ground attack aircraft were hitting targets in the north, and that's where I find it. Of course, I'm the only player on my team to have gone chasing there, as our friendly I-16's going to hit ground targets instead. Which is alright, I suppose, except that we are losing on supremacy, so we want to end this game quickly if we can. This IL-2, I wasn't sure what it was doing. At the time I thought it was actually trying to fly away from me because it assumed I hadn't spotted it. But I don't think it would think that. Just because why would I be flying over here if I hadn't spotted it? But I think it was actually just ignoring me. Not ignoring me, just didn't realise I was there. And it just wanted to get a nice long run in on the ground targets. I go in and put some shots in. The IL-2, it's Tier 5 ground attack aircraft, so it's going to be pretty hard for me to kill with my 50 caliber machine guns. and it's especially hard when we hit ping spikes like that, or lag spikes, packet loss. But get a second shot off, or second burst off. Takes away about another quarter of its health, but I break off because I'm a bit scared of bombs. But it looks like the guy's pretty well just focusing on ground attacking targets. Or attacking ground targets, I should say. So come around for another decent little burst here. Put on my throttles and close back, put on my flaps, close my throttle, just so I can get a bit longer shooting at it. And now I went to do a climb because I thought it was going to put its nose up to try and get me. I was hoping it to stall, but, well actually, looking at that, it might have been that it didn't do a very good job of it. But I come back down and I get my third kill. You see the I-16 showed up right at the end to help out. And well, that was actually a pretty decent game. 3 kills and an assist, a ton of experience, 17% accuracy, which is actually pretty good in any aircraft, now you think about it. Anyway, this game was the next day, the 23rd, and it's a bit smaller game. It's only 5 aside, which it's a bit unfortunate, but well, I'll just say I think over recent weeks that the game's actually started picking up a lot of new players. So we're getting a lot more big games than we were kind of when this patch first came out. Which was what, actually might have been 2 months ago. It's been a while. But I think the player base is increasing. And if you're noticing in chat, a friend in the aircraft was saying stay away from D7 because there is enemy AA. So of course the first thing I start thinking is I'm going to have to go to D7 now just to point out to this person that enemy AA doesn't really bug us, especially if you are at 2,000 meters altitude. Like, you don't really have much to fear from enemy AA so long as you stay high, and the thing is there's no... Well, there are situations where you will have to go down to chase enemy aircraft, but like that situation is going to exist whether you initially go into AA or not. And the thing is, if you actually advance into the enemy's area, the red zone as people like to call it, at the start, they're less likely to get head-on supremacy because their ground attack aircraft are going to end up unescorted. So then you won't have any reason to chase them down to AA at all. Anyway, spotted a Spitfire 1, which is actually the one aircraft on the enemy team that I'm actually kind of scared of. But fortunately it straightens out right in front of me. I'm able to put a big long burst in there. And it goes into a loop, which I follow it through. And I've taken away 2/3 of its health now. And we're stuck in the turning fight basically, which I'm not going to win, so I put my nose down to try and dive away. And the thing is, the Spitfire's also faster than me to dive, so I'm weaving a bit because I can see it shooting at me. Besides, no, I should shoot at this F3F while we're here, because I'm basically not going to be able to shake that Spitfire on my own anyway, and the F3F's actually quite a dangerous aircraft, if left alone. Thought about going after the AR-80, but decided to keep on the F3F, but well, my team killed it, so I get an assist. And I see that that Spitfire is actually broken off, so I decided to chase after it for a bit, and I was actually gaining on it, but I thought, given the distance and the slow rate I was gaining, I'm probably better off attacking someone else, like that I-16 down beneath me. So roll over, line up, and I get another burst in, but there's no way I can keep up with that kind of turn either. So I'm putting my nose up to gain some altitude, and I see it shooting at me, but I can force into a stall pretty easily, and well, my team kill it, and I get another assist. So now the Spitfire's well and truly run off, and there's just this AR-80 around here fighting, well, 4 aircraft in the team. Spitfire's coming back, but it's still 2.5 k's away. And I was thinking about diving down the AR-80, but decided to keep my altitude for dealing with this Spitfire, which dies by getting an assist on that as well. So, no kills. But I did manage to get the supporting fire medal, which I don't actually get very often. I'm not sure why, because it's not actually that hard to get 3 assists. It's just I think I usually get, well, probably, you know, a kill and 2 assists or whatever, instead of, you know, 3 assists just doesn't happen very often for me. Okay, now this game happened earlier today, and at least in the first half of this game, I actually don't think I play very well. I just wasn't really focused on what I was doing. But the result of this game is actually the best result I've had in World of Warplanes for probably a year actually, now that I think about it. Anyway, you see it's quite a large game, 12v12. As I said, I think there are a bunch of new players getting into this game. And well, quite a few of the enemy team have gone low. So I think about diving down on them, and then I kind of decide, no, I should stick for the people up high first and see the bigger threat. Well, I see a P-36 and figure that will do. And well, I completely miss my first burst. And I'm trying to follow it round, but I realise I'm not going to be able to. So I break off and I'm looking for other targets, and well, there actually aren't any near me. And of course now I'm down low, but I see an I-16 coming in underneath me. Try lining up some shots, but I accidentally rolled a bit at the start, so throw my guns off target. But I'm able to come around and steal the kill there. And now I'm kind of right in the middle of the third ball. I've just got to find a target. See that P-36 again, and a few shots in the general direction, but they all miss. See the 109E, which is a dangerous enemy aircraft. So, well, apparently I hit, but I don't seem to do any damage. Get a few decent shots in there. But for all of that, I took away 3% of its health. I go head on with the P-36 and manage to get a second kill, just sneakily, while I'm trying to chase the 109E down. And luckily for me, this 109E just keeps trying to turn within a couple of hundred metres of our dogfight. But I break off because I see an A6M1, which is a much more dangerous aircraft to me than the 109E. And luckily, it decides to fly straight and level, and even after I shoot it, it still keeps flying straight and level. And that was kill number 3 for me. And see a Blenheim F, teammate on, well, one of my teammates on its tail. Take a few shots, but I can't actually keep up with it. So I go through my turn, and then go back onto the 109E, because, as I said, there was one of my teammates on the Blenheim F. But it seems that's not the case anymore. The Blenheim F's now got no one on its tail, so I go at it. And I keep changing fire back between this, because I see the 109E's down low health, so I feel like I can kill it pretty quickly. And I can. Kill number 4. And the Blenheim F's trying to escape, but I can run it down. And I'm getting shot at from behind, so I try and boost to get away from it. At the time I assumed it was an enemy shooting at me, but if you look up at the radar, it was actually probably a friendly aircraft shooting at me there. But I kill the Blenheim F, which is my ace medal. Come back around, there's a Beaufighter on low health and an I-16. The Beaufighter is coming straight at me, so I do a bit of a barrel roll and manage to, well, it doesn't even bother shooting at me, so I evade its fire. I-16's on my tail, but I can deal with the I-16 so long as the Beaufighter's dead. And kill the Beaufighter pretty easily. And now the I-16 on my tail is the only enemy aircraft left, so I go and evade a bit. Try to put this ridgeline in between it and me, and when it stops shooting me, I boost and go straight into a climb, assuming it would chase me, but you see it hasn't. At the time I didn't realise what it was doing, until right now when I realise it's actually trying to evade the fire from the Focke-Wulf 57. Which just gives me a chance to put a sneaky little burst in, but not very effectively. So I break off, go into another climb, and I see that again it didn't chase me straight down, which allows me to go head on with it, and that was kill number 7. And it's been a long time since I have had 7 kills in a game. As you see, only 2,200 experience, and that is because I wasn't actually that good. I only did the second most damage on my team. The P-38F did a lot more damage than me, but I was obviously just mopping up that guy's kills, and as you see there, only 6% accuracy, so like I said, I got a really good result. So I'm not actually sure I played all that well, especially at the start when I just wasn't focusing on aiming or, you know, positioning my aircraft well. Like, kind of those first 3 kills were basically just a lot of luck, and it was only really the last 4 that I worked for. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all next time.